Oh no, we suck again. Welcome in, everybody, to the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm Lindsay. That's Flex. That's Espo. Gerald Bourguet will be joining us here in just a little bit from the Footprint Center with information from the coaches and the players. But unfortunately, our Phoenix Suns fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder 111-99 in yet another fourth quarter meltdown.
This is one of the worst fourth quarter teams I have ever seen in basketball history. Yes, they're shorthanded. Yes, it's early in the season, but this team continues to do the same thing over and over again. They're the NBA's version of the Back to the Future trilogy. Same plot, slightly different changes each time. Nothing is working when it comes to the fourth quarter. 2 of 21 tonight. They shot 10 freaking % in the fourth quarter. This team can't buy a bucket. It's on the players. It's on the coaching staff right now. This is a hot, utter mess in the final quarter. They are now, let me do the quick math here. What was the final was 111-99. So that's 12 points. They're up by 6. That's 18. They are now minus 61 in fourth quarters this season. A minus 61. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, listen, this is not a good basketball team without the head of the snake. I'm comfortable saying that. Hey, Eric, put that Eric Ripley one up. He just put something up.
There we go.
Okay. Very simplistic, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's your answer right there. Okay. They don't have these collapses. Now he's only played 2 games. Devin Booker's only played 2 games. Without Devin Booker, this team is terrible in the fourth quarter. Devin Booker happens to be your point guard, aka your quarterback. He's also a really good finisher, and he's an MVP candidate. It's just hard. Listen, if you guys both told me we're gonna play this entire season without Devin Booker, get ready to be in the lottery. Because this is not a great basketball team. That guy is that important. Now,
that's insane when you have Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and you're good in 3 quarters out of the game. I just don't.
That's my
problem. I don't get what is the difference when it comes to the fourth quarter. The ball completely stops. Now, it's mind-boggling to me. You have a 6-point lead going into the fourth, and you forget how to shoot. You shoot 10%. I could make 10% of my shots, and I'm a fat, unathletic man.
Yeah, listen, it's a little psychology, I think. Psychologically, it's in their heads. I'm going to keep harping on the point guard. They just don't have a point guard to regulate and calm things down in the fourth quarter. And when KD's out of the game, they're getting severely outscored. And KD is 35 years old. And KD is doing everything he can through 3 quarters to keep this team afloat. And you're asking him to come out in the fourth quarter and be a superhero every night. It's just not realistic. Is this team supposed to, listen, another thing I want to point out here is that they've been terrible fourth quarters. There have been collapses in the fourth quarter. And yet, how many of these games do you think we should have won?
A lot of them.
Every single one of these ones blown in the fourth.
Right. So, this is one of those things where, again, I'm going to keep it very simplistic. When Devin Booker's back and this big 3 is together, I think everyone else falls into their rightful roles on this basketball team. And I think a lot of this stuff gets resolved organically. But until that happens, this is what we're looking at. I mean, How good are the Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry? Devin Booker is an MVP candidate. He might be the best player on this basketball team, and he's notoriously been very good in the fourth quarter. Like, he's a closer. They're missing that one ingredient.
Yeah, but you're saying
they're good through 3 quarters, Espo, and they're stinking it up in the fourth quarter. And the guy that basically resolves a lot of that for his career has been Devin Booker. And so they're missing that ingredient. And until that happens, this is what you're going to see. I do not think this is a bad basketball team, and I do think this team is going to get it together, and I'm not panicking, but it doesn't feel good right now.
I think my biggest question is it's not it just doesn't make sense. Okay, I understand that it can be a little bit of a mental thing, it can be a little psychological, but it's not like we're a team full of rookies.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, at this point in all of their careers, they should be beyond that.
Nice, yeah.
You shouldn't have those kind of like butterflies or meltdowns in the fourth quarter. Like, they all know better. They know how to play this game of basketball. They, like, to your point, Espo, the 3 quarters before the fourth quarter, you're doing just fine without a point guard. You're doing just fine without Devin Booker. What is it specifically? And I cannot wrap my head around it for the life of me. What is it about these fourth quarters where it's just like, they just literally forget everything? Or are they being told? I'm curious, like, I'm not trying to like just go straight after the coaching staff here, but are we literally changing things up in the fourth quarter to the point where everyone's being told, get the ball to KD, get the ball to KD? Is that a strategy? Yeah. Because why is that all that we're doing?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
You say, oh, they want Kevin Durant to be the hero, but is that them? Is that KD? To me, I'll go straight at the coaching staff. This is a Kevin Young problem for me right now because it's an offensive issue. It's a system issue right now. And I get Frank Vogel said that one of the best plays in the NBA is Kevin Durant ISO. But again, can't be your only play in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And if the argument is Kevin Young's system's predicated on the big 3, well, then Kevin Young should have had a backup system because he knew that these guys were injury prone and that you were going to probably not have the big 3 in every game. So what's the backup plan? And right now, I don't feel like there is one. And in pregame, I said I wasn't panicking, but tonight's effort, and again, seeing the same thing happen in the fourth, my hand is hovering over that button. And I get it. Devin Booker comes back, and maybe it fixes some of it. But I also don't want to act like he's the magic elixir here. The best case scenario is this Phoenix Suns team is like the 7 seconds or less team when they didn't have Steve Nash. They were straight dookie when they didn't have Steve Nash.
Yeah, what was their record?
I mean, in one season it was 0-7 when they were without Nash. And maybe that's this. Maybe Devin Booker is such a key to this, like the 2-time MVP was with those teams, that it just changes everything.
Let me put some context behind that, because that's a great point. That team was 62-20 for the year, and at one point was 31-4. And then Steve Nash got kneed in the thigh in Indiana on a road game, and they went 0-7 with Sean Marion, Joe Johnson, and Amari Stoudemire on that team. And then Steve Nash comes back, and they win like 15 in a row. So, yes, there is a such thing as a particular player being the glue, the head of the snake, the guy that makes it all work. This team was designed to be run by Devin Booker, and Devin Booker has not played all but 2 games this year. So, yes, I mean, I get it. I know there's people saying Devin Booker – I'm going to say this right now. I want this same energy. Everybody in the chat, I want the same energy. When this big 3's back together and they win 9 out of 10 and they're rocking and rolling, I want the same energy because I get it, guys. You're frustrated. I get it. It's frustrating to see these collapses. But it's not like we're playing games and saying, hey, we're missing Eric Gordon.
No.
We're missing not a good player, not an all-star, but an all-NBA MVP candidate that, again, is very good at what we're lacking right now, which is running the point, running an offense, and closing basketball games. And so, yeah, I mean, I get what y'all saying. I'm not disagreeing with y'all. I'm just saying there is a such thing as a player being that valuable to a team that it looks like it's falling off the cliff without him. And that's what's happening.
Is that fair to put on Book?
Yeah, he's a max player. It's fair to put on Book. He's a 27-year-old max player who's an MVP candidate, who's at this point in his career is the guy that's in charge. It's no different in Boston. Jason Tatum has that same situation. Luka has that same situation in Dallas. Take Luka Doncic off the Dallas Mavericks, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, but he doesn't supposedly have a super team. This is supposed to be a super team.
Have we seen it yet, though?
No, but look, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. I get Bradley Beal game 3. You hope he gets better. Kevin Durant has been Kevin Durant with no help around him. But I just keep coming back to the fact that this offense looks good in 3 quarters and can't do anything in a fourth. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Young was part of that coaching staff that for 2 straight playoffs looked good and crapped out in big games, in pressure situations.
Yep.
And now we're into pressure situations again, and they're crapping out.
You know why? You make a great point. I love what you're saying. But why does that work for Kevin Young before? In that offensive role? Why? Because you got the point guard. You got a guy like Chris Paul who's a point guard who can handle these situations.
Okay, but Kevin Young knew coming into the season he didn't have that. And there was no, let's switch things up. Let's have a backup plan.
Let's figure out how to do this.
Hold on.
Let's go get a point guard.
Hold on. I'm going to ask both of you guys. And I love, this is not me arguing with y'all. I'm genuinely asking this question. Did any of you guys foresee that we'll be 10 games into the year without seeing the big 3 yet? At any point in the preseason when we were doing shows and we were talking, did anybody feel that?
No, but we knew at some 10-game stretch we weren't going to see the big 3. And just because it's the first 10 games does not change my concern. It unveils underlying issues with the roster, with the team that Booker may or may not be able to mask.
And it's not my job to come up with a backup plan
if
it happens.
Yours. No, you're right.
But it is their job.
Listen, I'm going to say this again. I think Saul made a great point in the chat.
What did he say?
I cannot at all evaluate this basketball team and say if they are good, bad, or anything in between until we see the whole team together. I mean, it's just that simple. And again, I would be really upset right now if this was Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Brad Beal, and we were missing Okogie, or we were missing Nurkic, and we're losing these basketball games. I get that, but when you're missing 2 out of the 3, how many? Like, guys, I just can't. I'm not panicking. I don't think the sky's falling, and I'm gonna go out here and please y'all can go back and rewind this all y'all want. When this team gets 100% healthy and in the groove, it's going to sound like comedy that we're saying some of the things that we're saying about this team.
I get that, but I'm still upset in the moment.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think I'm allowed to be
No.
upset right now because this is trash and I don't want to. I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
that's
not
fair. No, that's fair.
It's not okay.
It's not just losing games without having the big 3. How and the perspective on that is the problem here. I don't care. I watched some of the worst basketball in Suns history courtside while working for the team. Mm-hmm. Some shit basketball with no point guards, no talent, no nothing. Bad coaching, bad everything. And I can't tell you, I can remember a time that they went 2 for 21 in a given quarter, shot 10%. And it's not like this is a one-time occurrence. Sure, it wasn't 10%, but they've been abysmal offensively in the fourth quarters. Mm-hmm. And any NBA team should be able to do better than that in a given quarter. But a team that has Kevin Durant and now Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal sure as hell should be able to shoot better than that in a fourth quarter. And that's my problem with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not panicked. I'm not saying this team is total crap for the rest of the year and all is lost, but that is concerning and it's a flaw and it's something to really look at and take seriously because if they did this and none of the big 3 played and you're relying on a bench that also didn't have Eric Gordon, I go, okay, well, this was just bad luck. But that's not the case. You have two of your big three, and this is a historically poor offensive quarter, and no NBA team, let alone one running out Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, should play like that in a fourth. Ever.
I do feel like Kevin is doing the best he can. Kevin Durant, and what I mean is Kevin Durant's doing the best he can. I mean, the guy's 35 years old, and he's still putting up fantastic numbers. Brad, right now, this game was not good. This was not a good game. Okay, I don't think Brad is 100% ready to rock and roll, and you're seeing it. But I mean, I just don't know what else Kevin can do, except just take over the fourth quarter and win these basketballs. So
I think that might be the problem.
That is the problem.
He's trying to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Give me a freaking pick and roll. Give me anything that resembles you trying to run some form of an offensive system rather than relying on Kevin Durant to try to play hero ball.
But aren't you seeing that when he's off the court? So what's the excuse for when he's off the court? They're playing their offense. You can't blame KD for the minutes he's off the court.
I'm not blaming you.
Not you.
Not
I'm
blaming
saying
KD isn't in the sense that he's the one who's asking for this necessarily. Blaming the situation that you can't put KD in that position to have to do that.
I agree.
That's the problem.
I agree.
Like, y'all were sharing the ball, equally contributing in the first three quarters, and now all of a sudden it's all on KD?
Right. No, I agree.
That's not okay.
No, that's not okay. So who's at fault? Who's at fault? Is it Grayson Allen?
The answer is D.
All
of the above.
Is it Grayson Allen?
It's all of them. It's Grayson. It's Bradley. It's KD to an extent. It's coaching. It's everybody, because this is a complete systematic failure when you shoot 2 of 21 in a quarter. Yeah. That's not one person. You can't point the finger at one person.
I agree.
And I'm not, and look, Kevin Durant probably is the one that carries the least blame of it. But still, if he's the guy that's going to wind up with the ball in his hands constantly, there's some blame that goes there, but you can't lay it at his feet. But everybody deserves a portion of this blame when it's this ugly.
No, yeah, listen. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with y'all. I'm just not at the point where I'm feeling like this is something to panic about. Not yet. I'm just not. This is not a good basketball team without their best player.
I get that.
That's what it comes down to. They're not they're not a great basketball team.
It should be a good basketball team. It should not. I don't need them to be.
They need to be serviceable
great.
at the very least. And right now, it doesn't even feel like we're reaching that level.
And you brought up Steph and the Warriors. Mm-hmm. Steph and the Warriors without Steph, but with KD, Draymond, and Clay.
No, I'm not talking about that.
I know, but we have
I'm
KD
talking about
and Bradley Beal.
Clay, Steph, and Draymond. The big three. Yeah, that's a big four.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not talking about a big four. Like, that's cheating if you add KD to the Warriors. I'm talking about Steph, Clay, and Draymond. When you take Clay off that team, they're not very good. When you take Steph off that team, they're not very good. That's just facts. Go look at the numbers. I mean, when those guys, when that big three's together and one of them is not playing, they're not very good.
They're not okay. They're not a big three like this though, because Draymond is a guy that does a little bit of everything well, but isn't a dominant offensive force at any point. Like, you're looking at Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. Are two dominant forces. Yes, you've got to slow down Bradley Beal. Yeah, I get that in part. But this team should be average. They should not be, again, I'm just going to keep saying it, 2 of 21.
Yeah, that's this game.
Anything that's 10% in life is pretty much shit. If you're doing something with 10% effort, you aren't going to have your job much longer, right? I mean, unless you're the best ever to do it, and 10% from you is better than 100% from most. But 10% tonight from the field in the fourth, right. I can't get off that.
All right, so can I? I'm going to make a bet with you, Espo. I'm going to make a bet right here with you on the show. Okay. I'll extend the same thing I did to Lindsay. I will take you out to the best dinner of your life if the Suns ever shoot 10% in a quarter the rest of the year.
if they ever shoot 10% in a quarter the rest of the year again, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind.
Well, they won't.
But you know what?
They won't.
They've been pretty damn close a couple other fourth quarters. So it's not as if we're saying they were shooting 60% in every fourth quarter and they came in and they shot 10 tonight. They've been atrocious. I agree with you.
Have been.
The odds that they shoot 10% again in a quarter are very slim. But after tonight, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yo, dude, any place in Arizona, brother, if they shoot 10% in any quarter for the rest of the year, I will take you out anywhere you want. And here's the thing. To me, that's an aberration. To me, now the fourth quarter failures is not. They're failing in the fourth quarters. That's a fact. But tonight was an extreme anomaly. 10%.
Okay, but it wasn't. It may have been more extreme, but it's not an anomaly at this point when we've had fourth quarter meltdowns.
No, I'm not saying the fourth quarter meltdown. I'm talking about the 10%, how bad they were tonight.
Yeah, how bad it was, but they've been pretty bad.
Oh, you're making me
they have.
It's not.
You looking already?
You're making me be Gerald Bourguet right now. I'm looking up stats to back up the fact that my brain feels like it's going to explode this
season. Listen, this isn't good, guys. This isn't good. I know it feels like crap, but I mean, I just feel like until I see this basketball team whole, I can't make an assumption that they're one thing or the other. They just haven't been whole yet.
Well,
and hopefully that changes on Wednesday.
All I can tell you is that what we watched tonight, and that fourth quarter specifically, was boo-boo, and I never want to see it again. So if you'd like to wash that fourth quarter away, might I recommend a pumpkin porter from Four Peaks?
Oh, I'm ahead of you, Lindsay.
Pumpkin porter out tonight. Get your hands on it while it is still on the shelves. Pumpkin porter season is coming to a close, so make sure you don't miss out. Also, you can visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite brewery tours and events. You can also follow Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub on social media to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Now, you do have to be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and we ask that you please drink responsibly. Also, if you have not yet been to Gila River Resorts and Casinos, you are absolutely missing out. We were out at Wild Horse, right? Wild Horse Pass earlier today for the Cardinals watch party. Hey, at least the Cardinals got a W, guys. Woohoo, go them. Maybe we'll get one later this week when we're out there.
Go football.
But Gila River Resorts and Casinos, always a great time. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, no one does it better. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. So visit playatgila.com for more details. All right, we have a boatload of super chats. Let's talk about a few of them here. We'll start at the top. Trevor sent us one and said, nobody's scared of the Suns. No discipline defense.
No, the only people that are scared of the Suns right now are their own fans.
Hey-o. Psycho Blue sent us one. Thank you, Psycho Blue, for your $10 donation to the program. Said, how appropriate that the sky is falling against the thunder. Basketball Cthulhu is going back to bed. You did that on purpose. I don't like it, Psycho Blue. That hurt my feelings. I never had to know how to pronounce this one. Maggle Tiger?
Maggle Tiger.
Said, truly inspiring how this team manages to melt down each fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's quite the accomplishment, I suppose.
Oh, it's impressive.
It's pretty aggressive, yeah. Psycho Blue sent us one. Flex, this one comes for you. Said, Flex, didn't we make all these big trades to avoid situations where a bookless Suns are bad? We saw this last year, too, with no Book and Cam J.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we make. By the way, they shot 4 of 19 against Philly in the fourth quarter.
What was the percent?
21%.
It's not 10.
4 of 19 ain't good.
Not 10. No, Espo.
Ain't great there, Flex.
No, Espo, I'm not arguing that they're having atrocious fourth quarters, but I'm going to go back to your – I'm fixated on the 10% because that's the number you said. Like, that is an insanely bad number that – I mean, I don't think I've been watching basketball my whole life, Linz. I don't think that I've ever watched a 10% quarter from a basketball team.
I mean, I hope not, because that sucks.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not, but again.
I'm not trying to say that every fourth quarter they're going to shoot this bad, but it is a trend at this point that they've had abysmal fourth quarters. And any team that runs Kevin Durant out there that shoots 10%, if I told you after they made that trade for Kevin Durant, in February.
Yeah.
That at any point in a quarter that he played in, fully healthy, didn't miss any of it, that they'd shoot 10%, you would have had me committed.
Yeah, I would. You know what I would have asked you? Is Devin playing?
Yeah, and I say no, and you still say I'm committing you because they're not going to ever shoot 10%.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And then I'd say, oh, okay, well, they went 4 for 19. You believe that? You would have went, no, you're insane. And they did that too in a fourth quarter. And that's the problem for me. Sorry, I'm done. I won't do it anymore.
No, I get it, man. I get it. I mean, I guess I would ask you, what would you do right now to fix this?
Well, I would be looking
on Wednesday night. What would you do?
I would be looking
Run
at
some
what
plays
my
in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I'd be looking at what my offensive sets are, what I'm not actually accomplishing. If I'm not actually running these things, how do I get into that kind of a set and run some pick and rolls? Do I look at having Drew Eubanks out there in the fourth and running some rolls to the basket like we saw that were successful earlier in the game? I'm going, who do I have in those corners when they're shooting those threes? Do I need to change out those guys? Do I need to be putting Grayson in a position where he's in that corner and not on the ball? Do I need to be, all these things?
It's a lot of things.
Because there's a lot of things that have to go wrong to get where they are.
Now, I will give them a small amount of credit that they did make an adjustment tonight, right? They pulled KD out earlier in the third to close out the third so that he could start the fourth. I'll give them that. It was a little bit of an adjustment.
And the game fell apart.
Now let's just do a little bit more because that one didn't work.
The game was still very much in our grasp right until Kevin took that 2-minute break between the 7-minute mark and the 5-minute mark. And so, again, to me, it's not rocket science. Like, it's playing out in front of you. This team with Kevin Durant on the bench is pretty bad. Amplified by not having Devin Booker, even badder. Amplified by Brad Beal just being back a couple games and still not being himself, badder. And so I don't know how else to put this, guys. Like, if that's the situation we're handling all year, this team is going to be atrocious. I just don't think that's going to be the case.
We focus a lot on the offense, too.
Mm-hmm.
The defense.
I don't think it was terrible tonight. They had 99 points with like 5 minutes to play.
Yeah, they gave up 100.
Yeah, towards the end.
And some of it's free throws.
Right. A lot of it. Some of it was free throws.
I get it, but there were a lot of slow rotations that gave up wide open threes in that at times in that fourth. They're just little things. And the little things are what's going to sink this team when they don't have a margin for error. Because they don't have the big three.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lindsay. I keep interrupting you trying to read super chats.
No, you're absolutely fine. So we don't have a graphic for this, but Espo, shall we take a stab at some numbers? We have a graphic? I thought you said we...
Okay.
Oh.
There we go.
You said you needed it. You texted me and said you needed it.
Hey, it's time for what's in the box.
Like we need to do it.
Oh, I see. Eric Ruby said, I need BTN. I said, what's BTN? He said, by the numbers. I said, oh, you need them? We still haven't given you those? Shoot, we were supposed to do that. Checks watch 30 minutes ago. All right, you guys, let's take a look at some numbers presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Espo, take it away.
Do I have to? What's in this box is not pretty. Free throws. Well, the Suns got 6 more of them than OKC, so that was good. Suns killed them on the boards by 19, 52-33. But guess what? Turnovers still sucked. 17 for the Suns, which was right around their average. 9 for the Thunder. And my favorite number of the night. Oh, it's such a delicious one. 2 of 21 from the field. 10% in the fourth quarter. To OKC's 9 of 15, 60%. And that's how you get a 111-99 ass whooping by the Thunder on the Phoenix Suns.
Yikes. I didn't like those numbers tonight.
Yeah, 31-13 in the fourth. You're not going to win basketball games. Getting doubled up in the fourth, you're just not.
How many times do you beat a team on the boards like that? You have the free throw advantage by 6. You play a fairly good game across the board, and you still find a way to choke in the fourth.
That's why I'm not bugging. That's exactly why. I mean, I can't say it enough. That's why I'm not exaggerating about this loss, because they won the first quarter. They won the second quarter. They won the third quarter. And then they collapsed in the fourth. That's not an atrocious basketball team. That's a team that is struggling in the fourth quarter. And again, the answer to that question is a guy that's in street clothes. He is one of the best fourth quarter players in basketball.
Not to be a negative Nancy here and pile on the bad news, but
Brad hurt his back.
Gerald Bourguet, who will be joining us with more from the Footprint Center a little bit later on in the show, said Frank Vogel said Bradley Beal tweaked his back in the first half, and there were, quote, questions about whether he would return, end quote, but he was able to tough it out. Vogel called him Vogel said Bradley Beal is a guy, that guy's a warrior. Sorry, I struggled through the end of that. Gerald then said he followed up to ask if it was the play right before halftime when Beal looked shaken up at the scorer's table. Vogel said he wasn't sure if it was a single play or more so just getting irritated. So,
can it just keep getting better?
The soap opera continues.
Why do I feel like this season is 2 for 21 right now for me?
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
So yeah, hopefully it just means that he's got some soreness going on there. Nothing a big deal. Hopefully he doesn't miss any games because we are all hoping to see the big three on Wednesday, and if we don't, I'm gonna be really bummed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make some phone calls and do my thing after the show to find out what tweak means. But when you tweak a back, it's not good.
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming off of a tweaked back that supposedly was better and now it's tweaked again.
And I understand having a little bit of soreness. I understand you got to work through some things, but it is a little bit concerning at this point, especially since Frank Vogel is saying it,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When they give out something.
Right. What's today, Sunday?
Yeah.
So on Friday's game, when Bradley Beal after the game was kind of I had a little bit of tightness there, that's kind of a little bit to be expected.
Yeah.
But for Frank Vogel to say he sort of tweaked it a little bit
that's
is
not
smidge more concerning.
I know you're not a believer in curses, but you getting any closer?
Hey, man, listen, I mean, you know what's funny? It's not funny. We talked about it before the game. Do you guys remember what I told y'all before the game started? I said, I don't even care what happens tonight. I just don't want no injuries.
Yeah. Well,
right.
So
thanks for
you're the
jinxing that.
No,
shit,
I mean,
too.
So it's you.
Might be. I'm sorry,
it's you,
guys. Yeah.
Flex. You're the problem. It's you.
I was hoping we get through this game without any hiccups. But, yeah.
Okay, let's do a couple more super chats here. Big Vernon sent us one and said, why when we double, it's always a disaster? Guys, I'm frustrated, and I don't really get frustrated. We need Book. Man, I still have high hopes, though.
Why when we double, I don't think the rotations are very clean right now defensively, which is another concern because, yes, Devin may fix offensive things. I don't know that he fixes defensive rotations. And this team, again, margins are thin, little things like that, 1 or 2 buckets because you don't rotate to the guy right. You go under the screen instead of over it. Whatever the case may be, make the difference in these kind of things. And they need to clean it up. Frank Vogel, obviously, there's no better to help clean up a defense, but these small mental lapses too. And I think you hit on a point earlier. Some of this could be mental right now, where it starts to go a little south in the fourth quarter and it snowballs because just like the rest of us, it's, oh no, it's happening again, right? Yep. But
they're human.
I get it, but clean up the defense, clean up the little things. The rotation is one of those concerning things.
Yeah.
This one's from Iverson. Iverson said, I'm negative, though, according to people. I think that might be a jab at me and you, Espo, because we've been on one tonight. And you know what? You're not wrong, Iverson.
No,
I'm being negative tonight.
Sometimes it's
I'm
warranted.
tired, I'm cranky, and I'm over losing. So
double Chelsea's this evening. Deal with it.
It is what it is. Then we have one from Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. Said, Frank is coaching like poop emoji. It is pissing me off. Ugh.
Ooh.
I mean,
we're going to start going down that one too soon.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's already kind of started.
Oh, it's starting.
The coaching shenanigans have started. It's going to get worse if things don't get figured out. Or figured it out if things don't get figured out.
Yeah.
Tim from Phoenix sent us one. Thank you, Tim. Said 2 of 21 shooting in the fourth quarter for a team with Katie and Beal. ... Yikes. It's completely mental at this point. They just need to win one of these in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's as simple as that. if it's as simple as that, then this is an easy fix, right?
Yeah.
They just.
I mean, that's what you hope. It's an easy fix. But in the back of your head, you can't help but wonder, but what if it's not? Because if this was an easy fix, wouldn't you have fixed it after multiple collapses like this in a fourth?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Killer Rex said, how can you say Booker is the reason for these losses when they've been up without him multiple times?
I can say that clearly because Devin will help you close these losses. You're collapsing in the fourth quarter, dude. That's why I'm saying that. You're collapsing in the fourth quarter. And Devin Booker is a guy that can carry you in the fourth quarter. So that's, to me, I don't understand this question. Of course, that's why I'm saying it. You can't score in the fourth quarter. You're 2 for 21?
2 for 21.
Devin Booker helps you at 2 for 21. He helps you not be 2 for 21.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't get how... I don't know how complicated that is.
I mean, I get what you're saying because, for one, Katie doesn't have to do the brunt of the work. This is not, I don't think this is throwing shade at all, but just know that it's not meant to if it sounds like it. But Devin is better than Bradley Beal. So you're going to have multiple options now. And because Devin is younger than KD, he can carry a little bit more of the load if need be.
Yes.
So it does. I get what you're saying.
And I
I
get what he's saying. And I'm not necessarily yelling at him. I'm yelling at the whole narrative of people questioning the Devin Booker thing. I'm like, this is one of the best players in the world. Of course he helps.
This next super chat kind of makes me laugh. Why not? Again said, maybe the Suns have a limited number of passes to use on offense and they're all out by the fourth quarter. Puke emoji face. I think that might be it. But let's hear what Frank Vogel had to say about the fourth quarter and see what he thinks.
Yeah, tough quarter. I think tonight's fourth quarter is different than some of the other fourth quarter struggles we've had. The last 48 hours, you put a lot of work into our execution. I felt like our execution was better. Shots just didn't fall. And, it's a tough night. I think, you got Brad battling through his back injury and trying to get his legs under him. KD's been carrying a heavy load for us all season, played every game in pretty big minutes. But I think the execution was better than it was versus the Lakers and versus, with some of the other fourth quarter breakdowns. We just didn't make shots.
Need them shots to fall.
Yeah.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, right? Isn't that the saying?
I looked it up, Flex, because you keep talking.
Talk to me.
Fourth quarter and book. So I want to maybe take a step back, take a breath. This year in the 2 games, they are 1-1 in those games, but Devin Booker is averaging 8.5 points, 3.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds in the fourth quarter. So, and he's shooting 50%, average 6 attempts, 3 makes. He will calm some of it down. You won't shoot 10%. I hope it's enough to fix all of this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I will keep that hope alive for you, my brother.
Yeah.
No,
right?
I might. What I'm about to say, people might think is outlandish and crazy. The Suns are 4-6 right now. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe if Devin Booker played in every game this year, we're probably 10-2. It was fourth quarters. This team has been hanging around every game, fourth quarters. You need your primetime guy around. So I'm comfortable saying I think the Suns will be like 10-2 if he played in these games. Now he didn't. So they are what they are. Bill Parcells, what did he say, Espo? You are what your record says you are. Mm-hmm. So we're 4-6. Sky's not falling. 10 games in, we got 72 left. Let's see what happens. That's it. I mean, I'm more concerned now with Brad Beal than anything.
Yeah, same. Hopefully we get an update on him sooner rather than later, and we kind of get an idea of what's going on there. No transition here, but you guys should definitely check out our friends over at Empire today. With the holidays just around the corner, nothing will make your home sparkle more than brand new floors that you are guaranteed to love. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, which we all know is like a win-win in my book, because going somewhere and having to figure it out and all the things that come with that, no, hard pass. I want to shop at home with super convenient just everything. Literally everything is so convenient. The right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the place to go for new flooring. They also have a really cool floor visualizer, and you can try it out by visiting empiretoday.com/PHNX, where you can see the floors in your own space, which is super helpful if you're a little indecisive like I am. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when you use promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for details.
Lindsay, you know what happened to the Suns in the fourth?
What?
They got waxed, and you know what needs wax? Hardwood flooring, and you can get that at Empire Today.
See, I think when the Suns lose, because Hello got it right. He said, hello, or oh no, the Suns took away Lindsay's ad transition. When we lose, I can't do it. I can't do it. So you're going to have to do the transitions from now on when we lose.
Who's next?
I only, OGs.
OG.
What you got?
You know what? If you feel like me tonight and you're a little, amped up and angry, OGs has got you covered.
Yep, they'll help you fall asleep and stay asleep. They've got the best scratch-made THC gummies and a variety of flavors, as well as, I don't know, what would they be called? Styles? Like types?
Yeah, types. Strains.
Strains?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Just like Bradley Beal's back strain. OGs has got plenty of different strains for you.
But we have a coupon code for you guys. So right now you can get 25% off any OGs product at your neighborhood ZenLeaf locations until the 30th of November. So take advantage of that, but only when you place an order online and use the code PHNX. So here's how you do it. You just head to ZenLeafDispensaries.com, find your closest location, order your favorite OGs gummies for pickup, and enter discount code PHNX to get 25% off at checkout. Now, this deal is exclusively for you guys. And a reminder, it is only available for online and pickup orders. That discount code again is PHNX. And one more time, it's active only until November 30th. So make sure you take advantage of that sooner rather than later. Okay, let's take a peek at a few more of these super chats here. Kyle, thank you for yours. Kyle said, I'm panicking. I don't care. How are we this bad?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Struggle bus.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
I'm right there with you, I think.
Yeah. My Kafka sent us one and said, this team was designed to be led by Devin Booker. Thank God for Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen for keeping us close through 3 quarters.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, Eric Gordon could have helped tonight too.
Yeah, he could.
That was a bummer. And I hope whatever is going on there is also not too rough, because they're still calling it soreness.
Yeah, shoulder. Yeah.
But then they said they went through all the injury, like the correct injury processes to get it like checked out or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he'll be all right.
I hope it's just shoulder, just soreness.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Frank said Suns averaging 20 turnovers a game, it seems like. Sometimes it does feel like that.
At one point it was 17.4. I think it's just shy of 17 right now, but I'd have to look it up or do the math, and I don't feel like that tonight. So.
Yeah. Thunderstan sent us one, and they're a little bit bummed. Said a team with Beal and Katie that can't score 100 is dog poop.
Yeah.
Tonight they were.
Tonight they were. I mean, KD's doing everything he can, and it's clear from what Frank said in the post game that Beal aggravated something again. So it's hard to play on a bad back. Trust me, I've lived it. So, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people hate me tonight, and it's cool. Y'all can throw frustration on Flex, no problem. But here's another thing I'll say, Lindsay, and Espo. When we were doing our preseason projections, right? We all did that. I don't think anybody had the Memphis Grizzlies at 15.
No.
But nobody had.
Oh, we got the list. So we can go back and look at it another time. But I know no one had them 15.
No, but we all said they'd struggle with Ja out for 25 games.
Well, and this was before we knew about all of their injuries.
Yeah, no,
and
so
Steven Adams and all that kind of stuff makes a big
difference.
But
I say that to say this is a stars league. Like these guys, the way basketball is played now, it's a stars league, and you're looking at Memphis at 2-8, and you're realizing that Ja makes a difference. Ja Morant makes a big difference. You go from being a good middle of the pack team to being literally the worst team, one player. And so that's what it is.
I love you, man. But again, Memphis doesn't have a super team. Memphis had a good team with a star. This is a team that has a surefire future Hall of Famer who set records last year for shooting efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Bradley Beal, who coming into the season was ranked 35th. I get it, back injury. So like, I don't think it's a fair comparison. And I get in the general thought that nobody expected to be where it's at, and nobody expected the Suns to be where they're at, and a star is missing. I get that. I think the big frustration point is we were sold on this team is deeper.
Mm-hmm.
This team has multiple redundancies when it comes to stars. So if Devin Booker is out, you don't wind up where you have been. And right now, it's not working. And I think that's where the frustration, the angst, when you mix it in with what we've seen over the last 3 years in disappointment and blowing a 2-0 lead in the finals, blowing the Mavs series, not being able to get it done against Denver and getting blown out in a final game. I think this is a culmination of all of that. When we were sold, this team is supposed to be the answer. This team is supposed to be different. This team is supposed to be where we've always wanted to be, and the best, most talented Suns team we've ever seen. And you come out of the gates 4-6, regardless of who's been there. And I think that's where you get this frustration. When you should be worried, when all of us should be worried, is when nobody's commenting about it, because all of a sudden it's turned into apathy rather than anger. Right now, this is just a lot of people frustrated because they felt like they were sold one idea, and we have not seen that idea come anywhere near fruition with or without Devin Booker at this point. And we've seen some of the worst fourth quarter basketball we've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's my not angry version of what I was saying earlier. So.
You guys want to keep doing super chats, or do you want to try and find some positives from tonight's
let's
game?
go. Let's keep doing super
chats.
They paid. Let's keep doing them. Let's roll through
Mike Kafka sent one and said, "Campaign is playing better than anyone, all caps, on the Suns from 3 through 12. Only Booker and Durant are playing better."
Let's look this up. I refuse to believe this. There's a lot of things I will believe, but I refuse to believe this. Cameron Payne this season. Let's look at it. Averaging 6.9 points, 1.8 assists, 52% shooting, 54 from 3 in 18 minutes a game. I would argue that Grayson Allen is playing better. There's a lot of guys playing better. I get the general sense. I get that we're starved for a traditional point guard, but let me remind you, Campaign is not a traditional point guard. Campaign is very much like the guys you have handling the ball here. Love Campaign, but I think that's a step too far. And the Bucks, by the way, 5-4 themselves right now. So
blow it up.
The anonymous Buddha sent us one and said, "Someone really needs to create an atmosphere of seriousness here. We are worse than a tanking team right now. And no, Book will not solve this. If these are fixable issues, why isn't it getting fixed?"
Because Book's not there. I don't know what else to say.
Is this atmosphere
I
not
don't
serious
know what
enough
else
for
to
the Suns?
say, man. That's like asking me why the Chiefs lost, but Pat Mahomes didn't play. Like I don't get it. Espo made a great point. The fact that people are frustrated, that means we're relevant. They love the team. They have interests. When they're not frustrated and they give up, then we got something to really worry about. So I get it, guys. Like, get it out. Be frustrated. But that won't change my opinion. Like, my opinion is things are going to get better.
You know, I'm excited for Gerald to come on because I want to know if he senses a little bit of frustration with any of the guys. Because I would like to know that they're frustrated right now.
I'm sure they're frustrated.
I'm sure they are, but I want at least Gerald to visibly be able to see it. You know, that would make me feel a little bit better.
I'm
honestly,
sure they're frustrated.
I would have liked Frank to be a little bit more than, well, we just didn't make shots.
I kind of wanted a little bit, like, I want Frankie Smokes that got all angry and red-faced during the game. I need a little bit of that after a bad loss.
Like,
I need a little bit of that.
I get that technically he was correct. Yes, you didn't make shots, but like I would have liked to have just said, look, I'm frustrated just like everybody else. I don't want to see these fourth quarter failures, but we are, on the other hand, trying to get to the bottom of this and figure it out. That's I'm fine with, but at some point, I just want to see a little bit of that, just a little bit.
Thunderstan sent us one, said, this reminds me of last year with Monty when we had injuries and everyone looked confused and we had no role players and just Book out there hero balling it up. Espo's right.
Well, the last part of that sounded good.
Code, thank you for your super chat. They said, where were the Lakers and Pelicans around this time last season? Can we see the records side by side?
Again, it's fair. I mean, Miami wasn't very good and got to the finals. This isn't pour dirt on them. It's over. It's just a moment that is very frustrating that you hope isn't revealing bigger flaws that'll come back and bite you at some point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Big Vernon said, this is just the team KD left Brooklyn. 18-2 record. I don't want to believe that.
I think, I don't know what he's trying to say here, but I think I know what he's trying to say. See, last year, Brooklyn started like 3-6. And then they went 18-2 in a stretch.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that's what he's saying.
I was thinking it was like the same idea that everybody else is like, this is just Brooklyn 2.0.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
That makes more sense. I hope that's
they started slow last year and then racked out 18 out of 20.
Okay. Book Sunwalker sent us one. Thank you for your super chat. Said 2 questions, please. 1, when is, quote, Book needs to be back gonna stop being an excuse? We got KD and Beal.
When Book's back? I mean, look, my biggest fear, again, love you, man, and this is not a shot at you.
Yeah.
I don't want, when Book is back, to become our version of, if only Jamal Murray were healthy. Because it always felt like such an excuse to me, and we always used to give Nuggets fans crap for that, and I just don't want it to become a crutch at some point. And this is the beginning. This is a 10-game stretch, 8 of which he hasn't been here for. It's not a full season, but I don't want that to become our battle cry at some point if there's more going on here. If he misses 30 games and our battle cry is, well, if only we had Devin Booker. Because it always just felt so disingenuous when the Nuggets fans did it. And maybe that's me being petty because I enjoyed giving Nuggets fans shit for that.
Is this our karma for that?
I mean, maybe it is, but I don't look. What's everything else been karma for the last 55 years? I mean, I mean, I don't. At some point, I don't buy into that, but I just don't. I don't want to crutch it.
What'd you do in your past life that made this so bad for all of us, Espo? Can you fix it?
I don't know.
For the love of God,
I don't remember my.
You know what the irony is that they were right though. Like when Jamal Murray came back and had a full year, they won a championship.
Yeah, so, but I don't like to think about that part.
I hear that.
Flex.
I hear that.
The second question of that super chat was, why aren't any plays being run for KD? He's just jacking up shots out there versus double teams.
My fear is the play is being run to get it in his hands. And that's the most creativity that they have in the play. That's my concern.
No, I refuse to believe that. Okay, a couple more here. Paisley sent us one. Thank you, Paisley. Said, what is killing this team? Fourth quarter offense and turnovers.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
No doubt.
Raymond sent us one and said, the Western Conference is hard. Just face it.
That's also
but
fair.
We're also supposed to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, I mean,
when we're whole.
supposed to be a part of that.
When we're whole, Lens, we're supposed to be a hard team to beat.
With 2 of 3, I'll still say we should be a little bit difficult.
I'm starting to wonder.
It should be a little difficult.
Is it even fair to say 2 of 3?
1.5 of 3.
Yeah.
Fine.
Listen.
That's probably more accurate at this point.
Listen.
The way Brad has been going back and forth.
1.5 of 3, 2 of 3. We should still be a little bit difficult.
I mean, tonight,
I'm just saying.
KD is still the best player out there on the court between the 2 teams.
Yeah.
All right. Dab Trim sent us one and said, y'all remember when the Celtics were complete garbage and no one was sure if Jalen and Tatum could coexist? Then one day it just clicked and they went to the finals. We're going to be fine.
That guy right there, I absolutely love that one. What's it? I can't pronounce
Dab Trim? I don't know. That's
Dab Trim.
Dab Trim.
That is a heck of a super chat.
That's a nice positive.
No, that's fact.
Very nice positive.
Can I rain on it, though?
They were
That's what you're going to rain on it for him?
Espo, that team was under 500,
Okay.
like 50 games into the season.
I get it, and I think it's a fair comparison, but we've brought up the Lakers last year, the Pelicans last year, the Celtics last year, the Heat last year. What do all four of those teams have in common? Not a goddamn banner from last year, and that's what the season's about. And I don't want some consolation prize at all. They made a great turn. I want the Larry O'Brien trophy, and anything short of that is going to be a disappointment in a season where you have a big three. And again, that's why 4 and 6 is so frustrating, and historically bad fourth quarters are frustrating.
All right. Iverson sent us another one and said, Wolves have won 6 straight and we play them on Wednesday. Yeah, but guess what, Iverson? We're going to be there, so it's going to be different because it's our takeover, the first one of the season. So all of us and all of you who want to come hang, it's going to be way more fun. And since we're there, they're going to win. That's the rules.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
That's the rules.
Them the rules?
Them's the rules.
I am concerned about Minnesota's size.
Minnesota, listen.
Minnesota's size is concerned.
Yeah.
You can't start that lineup you started tonight with Minnesota's size.
I'm going to tell you what, that's a team I've been watching a lot. I record their games. They just caught my attention early, and I've been watching their games on tape. Let me tell y'all, that team good. That team is good. I think that team's going to be this year's Sacramento Kings. I think you might look into the end of the year and see Minnesota hovering around that 4 or 5 spot. And you're like, damn, I didn't see that coming.
Flex, I thought your role here tonight was to make me feel better.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that does not make me feel better about
midway through.
It's going to be tough.
All right, Trevor sent us another one and said we should be winning games without Book regardless. Low key, though, in some of these games, I do fully agree with Trevor, right? Like, I know Book makes a big difference when he's with this team, but some of these games we absolutely should be winning without Book. Like, I don't care what Book brings. They had enough to win these games.
Okay.
And that's what bothers me.
Lakers, good team.
Of course.
OKC, good team.
Very good team, young and up and coming.
Yeah. So
Spurs.
There was one with Book. They lost that one. Yeah.
Yeah, one without Book. They lost that one too, right?
Yeah. They should have won that one.
Are the Spurs a playoff team?
No.
I still.
But I will say these last two they're not like bottom of the barrel teams.
The Spurs,
these are good teams.
But these were winnable games.
They were. We should be happy that we were winning this game going into both games into the fourth. So
every game this
very
season's
winnable.
been winnable.
Very winnable.
I mean, that's true. I still think the Spurs might just be a bad matchup.
I believe that. I do think they're a bad matchup.
I don't want
every team has that. Yeah. Every team has that one team every year. That's just a bad matchup.
Go to Tech Review sent us one, said the following takes needs to stop. Fire Vogel, KD Wash, bench sucks, any Brooklyn comparisons. These are not helpful at all. We're in a funk, not whole.
I agree. I don't think any of those takes at this point are ones we should be venturing down. Yeah. I think you can maybe question.
You can question some of the coaching things.
Yes. I'm not.
I don't think you can go as far as to call for their jobs, though. Not yet.
And I also think we can start wondering, is the depth as good as we had hoped at some point in the near future? But again, we haven't seen the bench in the way that it's supposed to be constituted because at least 2 of those guys have been in your starting lineup.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. I think we have one more real quick and then we'll come back to others at a later time. Raymond sent us another one and said, at the end of the season, the top 5 teams are going to be separated by 5 games. No worries. It's a marathon.
Yes, but losing... was this the 4th or 5th time you've had a fourth quarter collapse? Those 4 or 5 losses, even though they happen in the first 10, impact what that final number looks like. And the difference between 1 seed and 5 seed and not having home court could be in a 4 or 5 loss span there. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. Before we bring on Gerald Bourguet, our reporter over at gophnx.com, to share what not Monty. Shoot.
God, it could have been Monty.
Shoot. What Frank Vogel and the players had to say after tonight's game. I do want to remind you guys that you can get in on the action with BetMGM Sportsbook and sign up using that bonus code PHNX. Now that bonus code will get you some really nice stuff, okay? All you have to do is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10, and you're going to receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. It is that simple. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call your gambler. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
And of course, if you are already starting to look for Christmas gifts, which you should because it's just around the corner, we've got a really good deal for you. Our friends over at Shady Rays, they've got the best deal of the season for you. Go to shadyrays.com, use code PHNX, and you're going to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. We are talking about premium polarized sunglasses. This is gear that is built to last, and you can try it for yourself, and you can gift one to somebody for Christmas as well. The shades that are rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Again, that code is PHNX. All right, Eric, you know what to do.
In the darkness, beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome to
All right, we're going to welcome in Gerald Bourguet, our reporter here on the PHNX Suns show. Gerald from the Footprint Center. Gerald, what did Frank Vogel say after tonight's game?
Yeah, so I don't know how excited people are going to be to hear this, but he thought that in terms of their execution and the things that they've worked on as far as their fourth quarter offense and decision making, Vogel said they were better. He said he thought that they executed at a higher level. They just could not make shots. Obviously, they shot 2 for 21 in the fourth. I think it was 1 for 8 from three-point range. And that's just not going to cut it. Kevin Durant said after the game, he was asking for those numbers, and we gave them to him. And he said that's not going to win games, no matter who you have on your roster, what names you have, how many points they've scored in the history of the game. If you don't make shots in this league, you're going to get beat like that. And, you know, the Thunder did make shots. And this is a good Thunder team. I don't want that to be lost on anyone. Like, this is not – being up 6 on the Thunder is not the same as being up, 13 on the Lakers like we saw in the second game of the season or something like that. This is a much better caliber opponent than that. But it is one of those things that this team needs to find a way to make it work. They tried bringing Kevin Durant in to start the fourth quarter by taking him out earlier. They were supposed to take him out with 3 minutes to go, and instead they took him out with 1 minute to go. I think it's going to happen again. Okay, no, it didn't happen again. Sorry.
Yay!
There we go. But no, they tried taking him out earlier. Frank Vogel said there was no stoppage in play, so they weren't able to take Kevin Durant out at like the 3-minute mark, and so he didn't get as much of a rest as they were hoping, and it didn't really change anything. But it is something that they might need to look at moving forward because these fourth quarter lineups aren't working, and Bradley Beal grounding those fourth quarter lineups at the current state that he's in is not working either.
Real quick. I thought that was like a drill or something. I didn't know that was kids cheering in the background.
That says so much about Lindsay.
That's what it sounded like to me. I was like, it's like, woo.
She's like, kids cheering sound like a drill in my temple. The Lindsay Smith story.
Lord. Sorry, didn't mean to derail us there for a minute. Gerald, the biggest thing, you tweeted it out. Frank Vogel had mentioned that Bradley Beal tweaked his back again. How are we? Give us the context a little bit more.
Yeah, so there was a lot that was said about Bradley Beal's back after the game. Vogel said it wasn't a particular play. He thought it was just kind of a buildup of his back being irritated. We asked Beal about it after the game. He confirmed the same thing. He said he kind of tweaked it. And he said he elected to play in the second half, and he's kind of kicking himself a little bit because he played and now his back's kind of bothering him, and he wasn't able to be effective either. So it was one of those things where he wanted to help his team, but in the end, he felt like he actually kind of hurt the team with the way that he played in that second half. Now the back is bothering him a little bit. We asked if he's planning on missing any games, if this might be something that keeps him out. He said he hopes not, but he's going to wait and see how it feels in the morning. And he said it's something they need to be smart with because his body did not respond well to the ramp up tonight. This was the first time he said that he's felt kind of like a setback in this process. But it is something to keep an eye on moving forward, and we'll have to keep an eye on his status for Wednesday's game. Thankfully, there's 2 days in between for him to hopefully get that back right. But we know these back injuries are tricky, and if he played through some of the pain and wasn't able to go, it is something that he could wake up tomorrow and, he said he hopes he doesn't feel like he got hit by a bus, but it's a possibility for sure.
Did you sense, because obviously on this end, there's a lot of frustration from us, from the chat, from fans in general out there. Did you sense any type of frustration from the players, from Vogel? Because what you said from Vogel, what we saw, it didn't seem like there's a lot of frustration necessarily.
No, that's just fan perception. And I will say this, when people are upset about wins and losses, they skew anything these guys say is going to be taken the wrong way. Like, they are all very frustrated with this. They keep hitting their head on the same wall. And it sucks because it is something that they've been drilling and working on in practice to avoid this type of thing happening again. They did try to pull KD earlier, so he was out there to start the fourth with Bradley Beal. Like, they have everything that they need to be successful in the fourth quarter. It's just not happening. There's a lot of frustration out there, but they are also of the mindset that it's a very long season. We're only at game 10 in this process, and we still haven't had a single game with the big three healthy and out there together. And, we've been saying this since the beginning. This season does not start for this team until we see the big three out there together. Like, we knew coming into this season that this team isn't going to achieve anything if those three can't stay healthy. So far, we have not gotten a good end of that deal, and it's something to definitely be concerned about. But we knew that if those three couldn't stay healthy, we were going to be in this situation anyway. So nothing that we've seen should be surprising. These are fourth quarters that this team should be winning. These are games that they should be winning. This is the fourth time that they've lost a game where they led by 6 or more entering the fourth quarter. And that's inexcusable no matter who is out there. I'm not going to, hide behind that. But I will say we also shouldn't be surprised when we've gotten 3 games of Bradley Beal and 2 games of Devin Booker. Like, the situation just kind of is what it is until they get healthy.
Can we agree 2 of 21 is surprising though? Like, it's the third worst shooting percentage in a quarter ever. Like, it's pretty bad.
It's atrocious. Again, I'm not defending that in any way. And like I said, everybody in that locker room is frustrated. They're not happy, but they also understand it's a much longer season, that shots are going to fall. Mm-hmm. And they did like their execution. They just couldn't hit shots. Kevin Durant was saying after the game over and over, he's been saying it these last couple of games where they've choked away leads. It's a make or miss league. Everything looks a lot better when you're making shots, and everything looks 10 times worse when you're missing shots. And I think that's just kind of where we've been the last week or so.
Gerald, do you want to look at some positives with us? Because I don't think we've done that at all on this show yet.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
All right. Well, the positive tonight is that we named our big, bright, shining star the entire Suns bench tonight. Because this, at least in the beginning, before the fourth quarter, right? This was probably one of the better games that we've seen from our bench as a whole. Everyone looked good in certain areas. Obviously, we got some positive moments from Drew Eubanks, from Jordan Goodwin. Yuta hit 2 threes. We gave it to the bench. What do you think, Gerald?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Nobody else really played that great, so it makes sense that we gave. I thought Eubanks was great. We finally saw a lot of the above the rim finishing ability that we've been talking about with him for a while. I think they're figuring out his passing lanes a little better and when to get him the ball so that he can elevate and dunk on some people. Yuta knocked down a couple of threes. I know people have been super concerned about him. I thought the last couple of games he's been a lot better and a lot more efficient from three-point range, even though he's still not contributing to the level that we think he can. Jordan Goodwin had a good shooting night, which it kind of feels like a pity to waste a game like that because we know it's been rough to start the season. But the guy brings a ton of energy defensively, a lot of effort on that end. And Josh Okogie, I know he was starting as well, and he couldn't, make any threes. He's for his last 12, I think.
Yeah.
But he was attacking. He said after the game, I'm trying to find ways to impact the game when my shot is not falling on the offensive end. Got to the line 8 times in the first half, and that's exactly what you want to see from him. It's not just as simple as, he needs to attack the basket, he needs to put his head down and go. The spacing's not always going to provide for that, especially if they're playing off him. He is going to have to take some of those threes. But he just needs to see one fall at this point in time. Like he was shooting with more confidence tonight, which is good. You don't want him hesitating and then shooting. You better just shoot it. But he really needs to see one fall because right now the spacing is dead out there if he's unable to knock down, just 1 or 2 of those threes.
Gerald, hello wants to know which was happier, Attack on Titan or the Phoenix Suns fourth quarter. I don't understand that. I'm guessing it's nerd talk, but
it's not nerd talk. It's one of the most popular animes of all time. But I will say, the fourth quarter
that's not nerdy at all.
Was pretty bleak. It's not. Nerd is monoculture. Get with the program. You guys are the nerds.
It's one of the most popular animes ever, which is the most nerdiest comeback I think I've ever heard.
Actually, it's not nerdy. Everybody watches it.
You want to know what
nerd is monoculture, so get on our level. That's all I'm going to say.
Again, a nerdy comment. Nerd is monoculture.
I watched Mars Attacks last night. Was that anywhere in that? Is that kind of in that mix or no?
Such a good movie.
Count? No.
I don't know what they're talking about. I've never seen it. So
I haven't either. I have no idea what's going on.
What's going on there?
The Mars Attacks is fantastic. Do you guys want something else positive?
Sure.
Since Hello brought us back down. The Denver Nuggets lost 107-104 to the Rockets, despite Nikola Jokic having 36 points, 21 rebounds, and 11 assists. So you know what? It happens to everybody.
So you're telling me it is difficult to win without your second or third best player on the court? Is that what you're saying?
If only Jamal Murray or Devin Booker were healthy.
My guy Gerald. No, my guy.
I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. My sources are telling me that's true.
My guy Gerald, always coming in clutch. I'm trying to tell him that it's hard to win in the NBA when you're missing your number 1 or your number 2 or your number 3, and your number 3 is actually half right now because he can't. It's hard, man.
When you take a giant
I got a question for you, G, before we go real quick. So, I'm of the belief, my years around basketball, role players are to keep you in a basketball game, stars finish them. I feel like this basketball team right now is asking role players to finish games. And that's why this fourth quarters we're collapsing, because I feel like Kevin needs another guy to help him close things out in the fourth. But these guys are not built to be finishers. That's why they're role players. How do you feel about that? Do you agree that, these guys are still being put in spots that just aren't, of they're not of that mode, and so that's why some of these fourth quarter things are happening?
I think there's a lot of pressure on everybody right now. And I think that comes with not having Devin Booker, with not having Bradley Beal for stretches. And I think all of these guys feel it. Like, they're not immune to, a quick Twitter scroll to see what people are saying about the game. They know what people think. You can hear the angst and anxiety in this building when they go on a stretch where the other team keeps scoring and they can't hit anything. Like, it feels, I don't want to say like the playoff eliminations of the last 2 years, but there is a certain oomph in this building, like when the team is not playing well. And that's not to blame the fans in any way, shape, or form for how the team is playing. They've got to hit shots. There's no question about that. But I think everybody is acutely aware of this team's recent fourth quarter struggles. I think they've worked really hard to try and fix them. And I think that adds an extra layer of like pressure when it starts going the other team's way or when shots don't fall. They all pretty much agreed that they thought their execution was better tonight, but they just couldn't hit a damn shot. And I think they're in their heads a little bit. They need one of these fourth quarters to just break through where the roof opens up and they start hitting all these shots to just kind of get rid of all this bad juju. I don't want to talk about vibes as opposed to X's and O's a lot of the time, but I really do think this team is a little bit in their heads when it comes to that clock switching from third quarter to fourth quarter.
Gerald, could this just be a step as we ascend Because we don't skip steps here in Phoenix. Apparently, we fall down them in fourth quarters. So,
I mean, you better hope it's an elevator at this point because we're
Stupid.
still on the ground floor right now. So we need Book to take us to the top here pretty soon.
Gerald, anything else?
That's all I got for you tonight. Just take it easy, guys. It is going to get better, I promise. We knew the deal coming in. We knew this big three needed to stay healthy. They haven't been, and this is what we're seeing. That's all I got.
Well, that was so dumb. That made me laugh. Okay, bye, Gerald. Thank
Appreciate you, G.
that was my
Bye, guys.
my version of a joke that was the version of the Suns' fourth quarter. There,
So stupid, but it was good. I loved it. All right. A couple more things before we say goodbye. First and foremost, let's all have a moment of silence for our bets from the pregame show because none of them survived. Saul is officially down $100 on the season. He has not hit one time.
Negative 100, not bothered.
I
All right.
have a whole whopping 50 cents to my name. Y'all, I literally took a minus 130 bet today and it didn't hit. Like, I'm down bad right now. Flex, you're holding on. You got $17.45.
That
and
feels like
Espo,
$1 million
I know,
watching
right?
what's going on.
Shoot. Espo, you're minus 57.50. This is not great.
If I had hit tonight, I would have been a big.
Yeah,
but
you know.
unfortunately, still not.
Whew, not great. And then a couple more super chats and some things from the chat as well. Go to Tech Review, sent us another one, said the key element missing is team identity, sadly.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think this team knows who they are.
Yeah,
We said
that's
it
fair.
last game.
Yeah.
Mike Kafka sent us another one, said a wise man once said, quote, role players keep you in games, stars finish games. That's why we're having issues in the fourth quarter.
Is there an echo in this room?
Who said
Yo,
that?
that dude, who said that?
Who
No,
said
that's-
that?
He is so bright that he's got to wear sunglasses.
Wasn't that Socrates? I'm pretty sure that was Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates, the Socrates, the old basketball philosopher.
Then a couple more things from the chat. Chino Alpha Wolf said, it was a pleasure meeting you at the El Valle event. I ran into him there and super dope guy. You guys should follow him on YouTube as well. Big Suns fan. Maybe we'll have him on the show sometime soon as well. My name is Fat Mike said Mars Attacks is great. Honestly, I've never seen it before and I didn't finish it. And now I feel like I want to.
Yes.
I didn't realize how many people were in that movie.
Glenn Close,
Like everybody.
Jack Nicholson.
Sarah Jessica
Sarah-
Parker.
yeah, yes.
What's his face? Nacho Libre. What's his name?
Jack
yeah.
Black.
Yes, Jack Black. Like so many people.
It's very, very
Yeah.
entertaining.
So I got to watch the rest of that one.
I saw a movie last night, Espo, Copland. You ever see it?
With Rocky.
Yes,
Sylvester
Stallone, De
yeah.
Niro.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie ever. I was just
haven't
laying in
either.
bed,
think
and it's like 1997 this came out. It's called Copland. It was pretty good, man.
I think Stallone directed it.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Copland.
Okay.
1997. I'm not that old, but yeah.
Jay said, I love inside jokes. I'd like to be a part of one day. Jay, you are a part of an inside joke. It's the green screen joke, and it got you on the list. Leo sent us a super chat and said, prayers to the original Valley Boy, Kelly Oubre Jr. Yes.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah, talk about
That was awful to hear about last night. Hopefully everything heals quickly and correctly because he was playing some really good basketball.
really
And that's
good
unfortunate. Not just from the basketball standpoint, but just as a whole, having to go through something like that. Not
Prayers
cool.
up, you
And
know.
at least he's out of the hospital
Yeah.
though. Seems like everything is fine
Mhm.
from like a severity
it
perspective.
sounds like a broken rib is
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
But hopefully he continues to heal and figure out whatever happened there.
Ryan's right. Stallone didn't direct Copland. It was James Mangold. I was incorrect on that.
Okay. Still good movie, man.
I know people were really worried about that. Glad we could update it.
All right. Anything else, you guys?
Yeah, somebody in the chat said Lindsay seems like somebody that seasons her Easy Mac. I thought that was entertaining.
That what?
That you season your Easy Mac, your Easy
Oh,
Mac and cheese.
Is that a compliment?
I don't know.
I'm gonna take
I'm
that as a compliment.
unsure. Code said it.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment code. And if it wasn't a compliment, keep that to yourself. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. If you are here on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. It helps us out a lot. We are going to be off tomorrow, so we're not going to have a show for you, but we will be back on Tuesday with hopefully some updates from Suns practice in the meantime to share with you on Book and Beal and all the things. So keep an eye out on our Twitter at PHNX_Suns. So next time we'll see you on the show, Tuesday, 3 p.m. And like I said, until then, you give the show a follow on Twitter. You can also give me a follow if you'd like at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald, who joined us earlier, at Gerald Bourguet. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
I'd like to tell you it could get worse, and it probably can. Oh,
We all silly like the mayor.